that takes
Right.
a big chunk of the work off of the table.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay.
So basically, the way our application uses the plotting feature is, basically the beginning of it is we need to create an MXD. We have plot template, a plot template folder that we're going to reference once we go into admin to set up this. But in that folder, I've already created an SLC LLD, and I've put a couple of just templates in here. So I think this template here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of just created a template, a one-off of something that Tilson Maincom was using. It's got a lot of potential, in my opinion, but I stripped it down so that it kind of stripped it down to its core, and you'll see another one that I created that has a little bit more to it. But you see, we've got an MXD here. We've got our layer list, which we can drag and drop any of the features that you want to see in the plot. We'll drag and drop them here. And then we also have a new frame down here that actually shows the inset of where you are in the map. But go ahead, sorry.
Hold on, I don't see your screen. I was sharing mine. All I see right now is your go-to-meeting thing. Maybe you're on the wrong screen. Yeah, I see that. I see your mouse now.
Hey, that would help.
Yeah, you're telling me to look at something. I'm like, I see the meeting invite. I don't see. There you go. Now I see your arc map. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so let me actually go back then real quick. And so yeah, so this is, I've created just on the shared, this is the shared drive here. So if you go to plot templates, SLC, LLD, we've got a couple of templates in here. Any of the JPEGs or pings you want to throw in, throw those in here. It's best to just, keep everything in the plot templates folder. That way, you don't put a permit stamp in here and someone else puts a permit stamp somewhere else. You can just keep them all here. But so I opened up this Tilson template here, and this is, like I said, the kind of the basic stripped down one. This one right here has some data in it. I'll show that to you in just a second. But so, and you can go anywhere you want with this, but this is kind of like a standard type of setup that we would deliver for a customer to begin with. You've got a base map. Obviously we can change base maps to whatever, any of the public Esri base maps you can have here. We have an inset map here. We create this with just a new data frame, and we've got the inset map here. And so as we scroll, as we scroll in this one, you'll see that the inset map also changes its view, and that's just to kind of show, if it's going to blow up here, but that's just kind of show the how it works in the map document too. Each page will have this right here, and each grid cell will be the center of it, and the outside of that grid cell will be kind of on the fringe of kind of like a little bit extra extent there to kind of show you where you are. If you have a logo, we can toss the logo in here. I just left this old Tilson one in here. I don't know if if you have something better, but then I left these other boxes down here blank. So what a lot of customers do, and we've got a stamp that we might have to put in here. We might have a legend that we put in here. We can have a legend on just the cover page, or we can have a legend on every single page. It's kind of up to you. But then you also have areas here where you can add other images. You'll see that in the next one that I've kind of created for you. But I think this is a good kind of a starting point so that you can kind of clone this and create your own, and just go any direction you want to go. But basically, what I kind of started off with, you see, I just tossed in a couple ridiculous JPEGs here. One of them is actually a picture of my lottery tickets I bought a few months back when it was 500 million. I didn't win that, unfortunately. But, so this is just kind of, I threw in a bunch of your data so you can see here. We've got tons of data. I don't think we can see. Yeah, I didn't throw the grids on here, so you can't really see those, but we'll want to throw those in there just so you can actually see the grid outlines in your final plot. Or you may not want to see them, who knows? But any layer that you throw in here will be in the plot itself. You can also, just like normal, you can turn them off and they won't be in the plot. So, you can create a template that has 20 layers in it. You can create another template that just has 3 layers in it. And, you can clone them right off of each other. You can turn layers on and off to kind of get whichever one you want and just rename it. And then we'll configure it also in admin. You can have, 20 different templates configured in admin. The possibilities are endless. One thing that is a huge, awesome thing for plotting templates is you don't have to worry about your layer order. Since we're not actually accessing the REST endpoint or anything like that, if I, dragged this up here and saved it again, it doesn't matter. It's not going to blow anything up. This is completely separate. It's completely separate from your web application. So
now,
you don't have to worry about
the Drago that comes out on the 5th, it overcomes that thing too, right? Where your layer ordering doesn't blow it up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But we've actually, and I know Chris had kind of mentioned, and I think you were mentioning this WorkPackets and the plotting as being kind of part of JS. It actually works in Flex, and actually this is what I'm going to kind of demo it to you in is the Flex application. It'll work the exact same way in JS. Once we roll that out in February, we have been testing it, and it parallels perfectly. So,
gotcha.
But you can see here, so this one's a little bit different. I've actually put a layer, municipalities and grids, into the inset map, so you can actually kind of customize that if you wanted to see something specific in that inset map that would actually be pertinent to the user or whatever. And like I was mentioning, you can throw JPEGs in here. I've got 2 different JPEGs, just so they're not showing any of our other customers proprietary information. I just threw in some generic ones here, but so basically what we can do here is, you see this image. I've already got this image in here, so if I wanted to change that, all I would have to do is right click on it, change my path location, or if I didn't even want to worry about the path location, I can save the image as part of the document. So currently this image is part of the document. If I wanted to get rid of it, I'd actually have to delete it. But if you didn't have this checked, you could just update this this file path and put a different picture in, or if your permit changes over time, your stamp or whatever, you can change it to the next stamp that you've created or whatever. But so you have full functionality of throwing that stuff in. And then also, of course, you have your legend, as I was talking about. Esri builds a legend for you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but you can insert a legend.
Oh yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
what one thing that we kind of do is we'll build the legend and then maybe take like screenshots of the image, because a lot of times the legend that Esri builds you, isn't really usable in such a compact document like this. So, but that's just something that we do. Like the ones that are gone, the ones that are missing right here, those were actually JPEGs that we just copied out of Legend after we created it, because for one reason or another it worked better that way. But so you have lots of abilities here, and then obviously you can size everything the way you want it. You can move things around. You can group things together. Any way you want to create this legend. But these are just regular old text boxes. And so one other really interesting feature that we have with our plotting tool that don't know if you'll be interested in or not, but basically what we can do is we can create this text box here, and you want to show the sheet number or the sheet title or whatever. So this right here is just a common text element. But say you wanted the actual sheet number to update every time based off of the the sheet number in the PDF document. So what we would do is we would create another text feature, and in that we would give it an element name of sheet number. And basically what this allows us to do is to, when we set this up in admin, and I'll show this to you in just a little bit, but when we set this up in admin, there's a place to configure these text boxes. So when you click to create a plot, it's going to say sheet number, and that's your reminder to type in whatever the sheet number is, or the title, or whatever. Sheet number is not a really good example here, but say we did sheet title, we would just type in sheet title here, and that's the text box that'll pop up in the web application when you click the plot, and that way you can give this document a title without having to come in here and physically type in, you know, the title of the document on the map service, or sorry, the MXD. So it allows the person to you know, have this project number here, and then you can type in the project number when you generate the plot. You have the OSP engineer prompt here, and when you know, you have the ability to type in your name or whoever creates it, or whatever. So that functionality is there. And as I was mentioning, I don't think I have it open at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, cool, I do. So plotting is configured here on the admin page in our tools, plotting. And so we don't have any, let's see, we have any templates. These are all very old and not used anymore. Let's see if I can bulk delete. Of course not. All right, well, I'll come in here and I'll delete all these because they're referencing, you know, old stuff, but so basically, to configure it in admin, you would just want to come back to the server and grab the file location. And you have to do, even though the settings tab is the first tab in the plotting tool, you have to create a template for it first. So you have to kind of click to the second one. You're going to go new. You're going to paste that in, and let's see. And we're going to save that as our template. And once we have a template, we go to our settings, make sure we've got the right map service here. We're going to create a new plot. We're going to choose the template that we want. So this is what I was talking about. You can have, you know, as long as you name it accordingly, you know, if you have SLC permit whatever, and then SLC permit whatever, you can choose which, you know, which template you want to create. You can give it its own name. And then also, you can use the exact same one as a cover template or a cover sheet. Some folks will have it completely different where, like I was saying, it doesn't have a legend, or it has much more of, you know, like of the permitting information. Like some people have the title in the cover page versus on every single sheet, that kind of stuff. But just for this exercise, we'll, you know, as you can see here, they've got cover sheets already created, but we'll just throw it in there. And then this is what enables mapbook plotting. So since we do have a grids layer now, we can set a grid layer. If you don't have a grid layer set here, you only can print the extent of your page. So whatever you're looking at in web is all that will print out. So let's see. But we don't have grids applied to, okay, so that's what we need to do first. We don't have the grids applied to this SLC LLD, is that correct?
We should. Is that LLD? Are you in mobile?
Which one was I?
Plot templates.
Oh, I'm in, yeah, SLC.
Oh, you're in the high level. Oh, no, yeah. You need to be in SLC LLD.
Well,
You're at your whole different admin.
That would have helped.
There you go. I'm like, wait a second. We've got grids in there. I've been looking at it.
All right. So let's just start over.
So you go in there, tools, plotting, and this is where you're pointing to an MXD you already created in the SDE, right? And you've already layered
Correct.
everything the way you want. Okay. I've been
And
trying to get.
This doesn't have to be published or anything like that. That's the good thing about it.
Okay. Because you're not publishing it to a map service anyway. There's no map service to publish it to.
Exactly.
Right?
We're just creating an MXD and saving it in the folder.
Yeah, in the same folder we're saving all the other MXDs for that map service.
The plot template one. We're going to make sure we stay in, this plot templates is number 2, map services is number 3. It really doesn't matter if you put it in this folder. You just have to update that file path in admin. But it makes sense to us to keep them separate. It just makes things easier.
Yeah, that makes it a lot cleaner.
So once we have our file path here, we save it, and then we go back to what we were doing, and want to make sure we grab the right template. Go ahead and give it a cover page. And so now we assign the 450 by 600 grids. And so this is important too. So all of your, you have the ability in the plotting tool to either plot based off of that MXD, or you have the ability to plot based off of whatever is visible in web. So if you have this template here, if you reference this template and this template has data in it, it's always going to plot. If it's turned on in the MXD, it's always going to plot. So, you were saying that, you might only want really the routes. Well, if you find a moment or, if you find an occasion where you need the routes and the structures, if you had this set to use map layers instead of use template layers, then you could just turn the structures on in web and it'll plot the routes because they're in the template, and it'll plot the structures because they're turned on in web. So, there's a lot of customizations that you can do.
Right. I just need to resave the MXD with that layer turned on or off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So for this specific example, we're going to want to use the template layers on the plot, and we'll, this might be a good thing to just leave as map layers if you don't want to have, have everything showing. But yeah, we'll leave that one as map layers. So let's see, we've got that. Let's save. Once you save it, you can still come in and edit it. So what I want to do here is add, let's see, title. Let's go back to that. There we go. So this is our, these are our kind of text prompts that'll pop up when we, start to create our plot. So once you've created your template configuration here, you're going to have to clear your services. And
hey, what does that do when I hit clear cache there in admin? What does that actually do?
So what it's actually doing is it is clearing. I'll show you the inside.
Is that like hitting services in the web browser?
It is the same thing. Let me.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
But what both of those are actually doing is going to something that you guys don't have access to, but it's clearing the map service details. So in essence, we're coming in here and we are going to the SLC LLD, and since I just cleared it, this folder is empty, so nothing is cached for the map service details.
So you can do that and do the services, but then log back into web, and it still takes you to the same exact geographic extent unless you clear your browser cache. So it still retains some data, like where you were. Like if you're zoomed into a particular area, you log back in after clearing the cache, it still takes you to that area, but it's refreshed all the cached what base layer tiles and whatever other information it had cached. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, I think our developers have definitely tried to get away from caching a lot of stuff, and they'll even say, oh no, you don't have to do this or you don't have to do that. But yeah, unfortunately, you got to do the browser and the services.
Yeah, I'm still, because I'll republish a new map service, and depending on what changes I made, I have to tell my guys, like, well, did you log out and log back in? Yeah. Well, did you log out, clear your cache, and then log in? Yeah. Well, did you log out, clear your cache through services and your browser cache? Yeah. And they'll see things differently depending on what they did and what I did on the server.
Right. Yeah, I know it's kind of a thorn in your side, but unfortunately, I wasn't here in inception, so I wasn't able to voice my opinion on those things. But I know it used to be a lot worse. So you used to cache a lot of things just because of the size of of what we're dealing with here. But yeah, it's just kind of one of the things. And I don't know if JS is handles it the same way as Flex does. I don't believe it does, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you guys could use to verify. Actually, yeah. So you know how when I first logged in, it showed the folders that I had to choose from
to
get to my map service. If it automatically routes you to the SLC folder, you know you've got something cached.
Right.
You clear everything out, you should always have to choose that folder.
It asks you, it's like, which one do you want to go to, which map service, and then within that there's also okay. Yeah, and it turns off all your base layers too, so you have to go back and turn on your imagery and street layers or whatever.
Well, and if you have, that's another kind of nice feature that we have. So if you have like base maps that you want to load automatically, we can set that up so that they're visible by default. So,
is that an admin setting?
It is. Yeah, I can show you that in just a second. My map's locked up for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I've always wondered how to leave that on and how to turn off that overview map in the bottom right. I always minimize that. I'd rather that be minimized by default than always being on.
Yeah, it can be minimized by default, but it can be gone by default.
I'd rather just be minimized. I never use it. I mean, we're not in a huge area, and I usually can figure out where I am just by zooming out a little bit.
The WebJS does not have that because it allows you to dock multiple maps just in your view. So it's much better when it comes to having a reference point, having that mini map type of thing. While we're getting this to load up here, let me just show you real quick. So if you go to Maps, External Layers, what you can do is you can click on whichever one you have. Which world imagery do you use? Do you use the SLC HLD?
We've been using the world imagery Esri.
Okay, so if you just click on it, what it does is it shows you the URL and it'll tell you if it's visible by default. And of course you see mobile is highlighted here. So if you went to mobile, it would be visible by default.
Okay.
You have to click on this and then save in order to get imagery to be visible by default.
That's right. And is position the layer ordering?
It is. So let me give you a couple caveats. So we run into a lot of problems with people who use custom base maps where they want it to load by default. And what happens is if it loads by default, if it's set to visible by default, it'll look at that position and it'll load the first position. If there is no base map loaded by default, for position 1, it'll automatically load 2, vice versa. So, you know, if this is the only one visible by default and it's still position 4, it'll load first by itself. Now, the issue comes along where if the, you know, if ArcGIS Online is down for some reason, or if the supplier of your base map has removed it or something like that, your web won't load at all. It tries to load this base map first, and it just immediately crashes if it can't load it. So we have a lot of people, and that's why we kind of recommend, if it's not public, to not set it as default, because any, you know, the county that supplies the data could have an internet outage or whatever, and it'll just crash 3GIS, and you know, a lot of customers can't deal with that. But I'm not gonna save it just because it'll make me refresh my history again.
So the position is, so 1 would be loaded on top of 2?
1, yes, yeah.
Is at the top. So I'd want that to be somewhat opaque. Otherwise, I'm never going to see the number 2 position layer.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's what a lot of customers will do, is they'll have the imagery load up at, like, you know, 65, 70%, and then they'll have street map load up at 100% and in position 2, so that you can kind of see a opaque, you know, a pretty transparent imagery on top of the street or whatever.
Right.
So,
okay.
But yeah, you can kind of play with that. And like I said, if you ever play with it and it doesn't load, just uncheck visible by default, clear your cache, and everything should be fine. Just visible by default, like I said, if there's something wrong with the base map, it'll cause some problems. But
and what about the overview layer?
Hold on. Sorry, what was that?
That little overview layer at the bottom right. How do you keep that collapsed by default?
Okay. Yeah, so that is, I believe we have, let's see. Nope. Okay. So in the newest admin, so the next build you get, it's going to be in here. It's going to be something that is managed by something called group. Let's see, what is it called? Group something, maybe group management. I think that's what it's called. But it's in your security tab. So for the next few weeks, it's going to be in your settings and views. And basically, what this shows you, and the new admin is way better.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
But so you can go to. I believe, yeah, the Tilson group is the admin group for this service. So for your user, if you wanted to turn tools on and off, this is where you do it. So basically what active means is, will it be on the toolbar when you log in?
Okay.
What this means when it's not active is, those are the tools that are available when you go to the menu in the top right. They're not turned on, but they're available.
Right.
If I removed this, let me go down to the bottom. If I clicked on this and hit delete, it's not even going to have that toolbar available to anybody. So this is how you would set up your, like, read-only groups. You know, you would delete all the stuff that you don't want them to even have the ability to see.
Right.
And then at the bottom here, you can add to. So, you know, these are all deprecated tools. So, you know, the Google Street View, we don't use that. FinePath, you guys have never wanted to do anything. All these are deprecated or on JS only. So, but anywho, so that's where all the tools are. Now, if you wanted to get rid of your menus or whatever, they're here. And your map in the bottom right is in the decorator. So the status bar, that's what's in the top center, and your overview map container is what's in the bottom right. The build that you guys are on, Chuckwalla down here, it says Chuckwalla. That build had a bug in it, so no matter what I do here, it's not going to save. So I have to go into the DB3 and manually turn them on to active.
Does active mean that it's open every time you log in, or does it mean it's collapsed?
It means it's open.
Yeah, I'd rather be deactivated. that it's there if I
Right.
want to expand it, but it's always, every time I've logged into any of the map services, it's always open.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the bug is it's got to be either it's either in there or it's not. But
Well,
I
it's
can actually verify that in the newest release.
not a big deal. I'd rather get back to the plotting stuff. I was just, while you're in there, I'm like, hey, is that an easy thing to change or not?
Yeah, it is, and it's much easier to do it in the newer admin too.
Okay. When's the new admin coming out? Like in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, it comes out with Draco.
All on the 5th. Okay.
Yep. So let's see if we can not blow up. Well, there we go. So I'm just going to go into a random location. Let's turn on our grids here. And let's see, plotting. Yeah, plotting's turned on. Cool. So let's see. So we've got plotting tool. This is the only one that we got configured, and you can see once you click on this, it enables this middle tab for mapbook plotting. If you just wanted to plot the extent, like if in essence, if you wanted to just print what you see on your screen, all you have to do is leave the regular plotting turned on and hit generate plot, and that'll just plot whatever you see on your screen right now.
Okay.
What you're asking for is a map book. So click the middle one here. We've got a couple different options. Grids per page. So if you wanted to have all 4 of these grids on each page, if you're selecting 150 grids or whatever, you can bump this up to more than one. You can have your percent overlap.
So we want so that grid, we want that full grid outline for each grid visible on the printed area, and that's why we sized them the way we did. So we want maybe an inch of space outside of each grid to be visible on each of the prints in the map book. So I don't know what overlap percent that would be.
Yeah, so it's gonna, you might have to do a little trial and error, and we'll actually do it right here and now. But one thing that I do stress to people that are doing map books is it's going to take a mathematician to figure out the grid size ratio to fit perfectly within the data frame of the MXD. Because if you think about it, your page is 11 by 7. The printable area, or whatever it is, I'm just going to use 11 by 17. Your page is 11 by 17, but the printable area is less than that. Then you have to remember that you have images and a legend and all this other stuff that are also shrinking the actual printable area for the grid. So that grid has to fit exactly into whatever size we allow for in the MXD, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what we did. We took an 11 by 17, printed out our template, took some measurements, and figured out, okay, 400 by 600 feet on the ground equates to about this. And yeah, it takes some math, and we didn't go deep into the math, but we did a little bit of a swag. But I'm interested to see how this all fits. And the template I want to use actually has everything off on the right side in a landscape view. So I'd be interested to see how that works.
Perfect. Well, hey, while I'm showing you this, why don't you load that template just copy and paste it into that shared folder, plot templates.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it in there. I put it on a Google Drive, and it's forbidding me from bringing it into that folder. I think it's a security setting. I have a PDF version and a JPEG version on a shared drive, and I can't copy it into that directory.
Okay. Do you have ArcMap on your desktop?
Yeah.
Can you just try to zip up the MXD and just copy it from your desktop to the desktop of this machine? And if it's on this machine anywhere, I should be able to grab it. But
I'll try that.
So basically, once you have your your settings up here, you can choose which grids you want to you can select. So if I want to select all these grids here, but I only want to follow the path of my data. You know, as you hover over it, you can see where it is. You know, I want that one, that one.
Yeah, eventually we want to use a polygon. So we're going to have a polygon that represents a work package area. And then I'm guessing we could probably do a select by location using that polygon to then select the grid cells that we want.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, that's nice to be able to pick other ones that maybe it touches that area, that grid cell, but it's like, there's no design in there. Why do I want that grid cell?
Right.
So you can pull them out so you don't get a bunch of extra pages.
All right, so let's see if we get anything that we like here. So then you click Generate Plot, and you'll see plotting a cover sheet, and then it'll tell you, it'll give you a progression of what page it's on, that kind of thing. And pop-up was blocked. So here's our cover sheet. It's got all of the grids that we selected, but only highlighting the ones that are there. It shows, if you remember, we didn't have a base map applied to this one, but there would be a base map here, so you would be able to see the grids that we selected, your location, any of our existing info there. And then here it'll show you the actual grid you're in, and it does look like y'all did pretty good on the grid size. Yeah, there's barely any overlap. That's. Oh no, this is. Yeah, well, this is 11 by 17, but.
Yeah, ours, the template that I want to use has all of that. You've got it at the bottom. Mine is shifted off to the right, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah. So this is kind of what the output looks like. And now you said you don't really need any labeling or anything like that?
Don't know, but if we do want labeling, do we set all that up in the MXD?
Right. So yeah, it becomes pretty much just an exercise of labeling this handhold the way you want to do it. Make sure you click on in the MXD. You want to make sure that you handle the labels so that they don't overlap each other and all that kind of stuff. When you have a label for the pole and the handhold and the whatever this is here, so that it labels everything, but it kind of just picks a white space spot to put it in. And then we also have the ability to create better labels if you do find that you're having trouble managing your white space. We do have a way to help you guys out there. I'm not real familiar with mid-span notes, but in essence we can tie all the labels together and make it a mid-span note so that it just populates in one place as one label, but it's actually 4 or 5 different labels all packaged together. But I think you get the gist of that. So let's do this. Let's bump up our overlap to 10% and just see what that does. And I'm not sure why that's not doing anything. Yeah, so we should see that overlap here, and we should definitely see other grids, coming off the edges here. So I'm going to have to look into that. That's interesting. I've never seen that not work.
So it didn't really change it much when you added that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if it changed it at all, but Okay, well, I'll look into that. But I think you kind of get the gist of how this works and also how to set it up in admin. Do you have any questions on the web and admin part of it?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I'm trying to get this other template created. Let's see. I don't want to create pyramid layers. I want to get this MXD saved with our own template in it so we can start playing with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Zoom to layer.
Wait a second. I think I know what's going on.
Ugh.
All right, so what I did is I added the grid layer to the template, and I think that's what we were missing there.
Mm.
Yeah, so now you see a little bit of overlap here.
There you
So
go.
here's
Yeah.
the grid boundary. So that's what it was. We weren't actually seeing the grid itself. So let me print another one with 0 and see what it looks like. I really don't. We thought we were like dead on, but I think it was because we didn't have the grids turned on. Yeah, so yeah, your grid is really good. I bet you might be pretty close. Yeah, in the horizontal, you fit exactly into this data frame, but in the vertical, you've got a
Oh.
lot of overlap.
Well, that's going to get
So
pushed over since all our data is going to be on the right.
exactly, yeah. So you guys might have
better.
broken the code there on the math equation. So that might be good.
It was as hard
Yeah,
as printing out our template on a sheet of paper and getting a ruler out.
yeah. What's a ruler? They still make those?
Yeah, we actually had a ruler and we figured out, okay, how many feet does that? An inch represents this many feet, so 450 in height by 650 across, and then just created the grid off of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had to create a template for someone who wanted, an inch to equal 100 feet and an inch to equal 50 feet and another one for an inch to equal 150 feet. And it's like, man, that's too much math for me to do today.
Yep. I'm not having a lot of, well, maybe I should bring in, I'm trying to create this template, and I exported. I have a PDF, and I'm trying to export it as images, and it always screws up our logo. Maybe I should bring in our logo as a separate image.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, any of the images that you want to look good, definitely just, you know, save it as a JPEG and then just copy and paste it into
Yeah,
the same folder.
I inserted it as a picture onto here. Let's see.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna be right back. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Mike, I'm back. Any luck?
It keeps telling me everything I try to download is forbidden. Here, let's see.
Do you want to?
Here, let me share.
Email it to me.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's see.
Yeah, just email me the MXD, and I assume I'll be able to copy and paste it in.
Yeah, I'll just email it to you and see how that works. I've done it before where I've been able to put stuff on a Google Drive and then log into it on the web browser on the server, get to it and then download it there to the desktop or to some other folder. But no matter what file format I use, it tells me that it looks like it's a security thing where it's thinking it has a virus or something in it, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that might be it. We might limit the extensions you're able to.
Yeah, I've changed the extension and everything. Let's see. tbeaver@3gis.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see, attach file. I'm going to attach the other files too, because I have a CAD file that I was sent. I'm not sure. So I'll attach that. We have some image files. All right. All right. Do you see the email?
Let's see. Haven't heard the ding yet, but let's see. Yep, there we go.
So essentially a bunch of different files. One of them is just our logo, which is the image I'd like inset. And every time I'd export the PDF as an image type, it really messes up all the colors in that logo. But if you can just get that template loaded in, I guess we could load in the image separately. I did that in the MXD, so I'm interested to see what the MXD brought across.
So this machine is a 10.4 machine. Do you have 10.5?
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Huh. Give me just 1 second. Let me go grab somebody. I feel like this. I don't know.
Let's see. Can I save it as a? Yeah, we're using 10.5.1.
Okay. Oh, that's in when it's opened. Huh. So let's see. Hold on. So what? So do you care to do that? Just save a copy of the same MXD and then just send that to me real quick.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, I can save copy as 10.4.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, it's a JPEG 2000.
Can we save it as a J? Can we do that? Nope.
Huh, doesn't like it.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's my local
All
path.
right.
But yeah, you should have that file as an attachment from the other email.
Is that which one is that?
Didn't I send
Was
that?
it not?
Maybe here. Maybe I didn't send that to you. Attach. Here you go. I sent the CAD template. Yeah, I had a feeling the CAD would be a little bit cleaner to represent than an image of the CAD file taken out of a PDF. I don't like the fuzzy lines that usually comes out of those.
No, that's not going to be doing it. Okay, give me just 1 second, okay, Mike? Sorry.
No problem.